What's good, everybody? Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen. It's a new year, same SJW tears, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Outrage Cast. We're sharing it out on Facebook here. We're listening to our self-talk. It's all so intricate. Intricate technologies, ladies and gents. All right. What's happening, everybody? We're just going to run through some news today, some news headlines. Talk about what's going to change in the new year, what's going to stay the same. Now my vaporizer is not working. My industrial size one. It's all acting like it don't want to charge. So I'm on the Juul vape here, manufacturing my own damn vape pods. Trying to make it work, get that nicotine popping. So let's just run through some shit on the Drudge Report here. I'm going to talk about apparently there was a on-air train wreck last night. Viewers slam NBC for, quote, train wreck. New Year's Eve coverage. Oh boy. Apparently there was talk of vagina steaming on NBC there. Very important. Very important to, let the American families know out there that if your vagina doesn't have steam, does it even have an engine? Is the steam engine harmful? Is your vagina steam engine harmful to the environment? Is your vagina emitting chlorofluorocarbons that are damaging the environment? All very important questions. Let's check out this goofy article. I was reading this earlier. First of all, I don't understand the demand for loud and obnoxious female comedians on the New Year's shows. Leslie Jones and what's her name? Member of ISIS holding up the president's severed head. Kathy Griffin, butt of calls. Kathy, why would you have? Do people think these women are funny? I don't know. Leslie Jones and Kathy Griffin. God damn, Leslie Jones just looks unbelievably masculine. Yeah, they put up a picture of Chrissy Teigen steaming that vagina. Seems pretty relevant to the new year. These are New Year's resolutions. You don't want a dried up vagina. You want to keep that thing nice and steamed up. So thanks to NBC for that. And it's weird watching the mainstream media have to like bend over backwards and try to like keep their viewership by constantly uh, fixating on the intricate details of Donald Trump's moment-to-moment existence, and considering everything he may or may not do news. Uh, every typo in every one of his tweets, headline news. But they just have to get more and more provocative to have anybody give a fuck about what they're doing, because they're so boxed in by the PC culture of what they can get away with, and they just have to have this predictable, formulaic, boring nonsense that people are just tired of, I think. And that's why you see more and more people going over to the alternative media, watching YouTube shows, listening to podcasts, where people have no filter and they can just say how they actually feel, instead of like having to satisfy your advertisers on these mainstream networks that are just dying and decaying and falling away. Literally the only thing keeping the mainstream news afloat is their coverage of Trump and the people who hate him, who want to watch him. They're like, it's like a Floyd Mayweather fight. Like, they just want to see, they want to tune in to see if Trump is going to get impeached or finally, do something that they catch him in a criminal plot with the Russians, and they want to see Rachel Maddow vindicated, with all of their conspiracy theories that have been pushed the past 2 or 3 years. But that market is dwindling, I think, because you can only hold out hope for so long. There was this big article in The Hill that I was reading on the Drudge Report. It's up in the upper left. Mainstream media, he, period, will, period, step, period, down. And so they're making these completely unfounded predictions that somehow Donald Trump's presidency will not survive 2019. Because they have to continually underestimate him to like have this false sense of superiority, that Donald Trump is just this buffoon, that somehow managed to defeat the Democrats, the deep state, the mainstream media, all the mainstream newspapers and cable news outlets, and all of the propaganda against him. Somehow he managed to defeat that with his, his idiot ways. You think if he was as big of an idiot as the mainstream media claims, they could just outsmart him. But that seems to be a tougher task than they want to admit. So they keep just predicting his downfall, like they're wishing upon a star, like they're, reading the tea leaves, as it were, calling into Miss Cleo on the 1-900 line. And, the tarot cards say Trump will tumble in 2019. They 98% prediction that Hillary would win. That prediction didn't go too well. They predicted that Robert Mueller would find something of substance in the Russia investigation. Not so much. Just seems to have found that Donald Trump's lawyer once talked to a Russian person, and that Donald Trump paid some of his own money to a few hookers. And horrifyingly criminal, everybody. How can we go on being led by this tyrant criminal? This orange flaming tyrant criminal. We know he's a criminal because, the left predicts that he will be caught in some kind of criminal action at some point in the future. Once they make up the law that he has broken, then he will have broken it. Okay? As soon as the left invents a time machine and, takes Donald Trump back in time and blames him alone for slavery, they're working on it. Okay? They have their best and brightest. As soon as they figure out what gender they are, they're going to build a time machine and blame Donald Trump for slavery. And, all the taxpayer money is going toward that. And, we'll get back to you. Yeah. Yeah, this article in The Hill is hilarious. Just this, negative sounding emotional language they frame every situation in. Talking about Trump. His increasingly erratic and angry behavior. Ooh. He's not defending himself against a deep state that's, trying to leak everything from his administration and prosecute people that he's known in the past and trying to get them to flip and make things up and, say he's committed crimes and, it's not like he's responding to the constant media attacks on his family or, constantly calling him a treasonous Russian agent with no evidence. And he's not just responding in kind to that, all the unfounded allegations of him being a horrible racist. He's not just responding in kind to that. No, it's just this wild, erratic, and angry behavior. Where is this coming from? He's so angry. And it's hilarious when, that's what happens when cry bullies run into somebody with a spine who actually defends themselves and punches back. Trump's a counterpuncher. I mean, he hasn't really gone after anybody that hasn't gone after him first. And he's a magnificent counterpuncher. He's Muhammad Ali-esque. But his increasingly erratic and angry behavior, they're framing this narrative, right, that he's boiling over with rage. His self-imposed isolation. Oh, it's Trump's fault that he worked through the holiday and Nancy Pelosi went to Hawaii and drank the blood of some infant islanders there that were sacrificed for her betterment. Okay? Trump didn't do that. He stayed back in D.C. He had a lot of Diet Coke. Okay? He had a lot of steak and ketchup. And, he's making a lot of calls. He's trying to get that wall built. We're making calls. We're trying to get the wall. Okay? That big, horrible, racist barrier. It wouldn't be racist if it wasn't in America, but America wanting to secure its own borders is racist. Now, the Great Wall of China, that's great. And we go there on vacation and, for tourism and we take pictures on the Great Wall and it's all, it's fun. And, Chinese people are really cool for building this wall. And, Israel, of course they need a wall because, all of the warring history there in the Middle East, and it just makes sense. They need a wall. And, they're nice, defenseless Jewish people that have never done anything wrong. And so they deserve a wall. But America, You want a wall in America. Now that is super problematic because America is totally different. You see, America is a nation of immigrants. And so to deny any illegal immigrants from coming in and gang raping the welfare system, that just means you hate brown people if you want a wall. So they go through the like 30 points on this The Hill article. About how Fox News is, its support is waning for the president, as if that's like the barometer of Trump's success, like what Fox News thinks of him. Fuck Fox News. I didn't watch them before Trump. I haven't watched them after Trump. They have nothing to do with Trump, as far as I'm concerned. That's probably a negative against Trump, that he actually might sometimes watch Fox News and take them as legitimate, because they're just the puppets on the right end of the spectrum. They're just trying to get clickbait and get a bunch of ratings and ride off of Trump's coattails, just like the left is. But they just play, with padded gloves when they talk about Trump, where the left takes the gloves off and tries to fucking, make him look like Hitler. But you never see anything on Fox News about actually lowering the size of government, or actually calling the system out for what it is, or recognizing the moral conflicts that come about with having a government in the first place. You never get any fundamental truth from Fox News. What's good, Dirt Wheat? They're just like, they're the establishment cronies on the right. And so to connect Trump with Fox News is pretty absurd. And there's all these, like, they're reading into the Mueller investigation where there's nothing there. The Mueller investigation will unveil evidence of Trump putting himself out to the highest bidder in return for campaign help and financing. Yeah, because Donald Trump, we all know he needs help financing his campaign. Because he doesn't already have tens of billions of dollars. That's what he did. He sold out himself to the highest bidder. There will be evidence of that millions of foreign dollars illegally flowed into the Trump campaign coffers in 2016. Never mind all the money that Hillary Clinton laundered through the Clinton Foundation. We don't talk about that. But Donald Trump needed money for his campaign. So absurd. So this reads more like a wish list of idiots on the left. Predictions. This is our wish list. Robert Mueller might come up with something useful. Here's what's actually going to happen. Nothing will happen negatively to Donald Trump, and the Democrats will continue to exasperate themselves and flip out and make themselves look even dumber as they get more and more frustrated that they can't take him down. And all the Democratic candidates won't have any definite position or political positions that they seek to enact. It would all be, here's why I hate Donald Trump. And so all of their campaigns will be about Donald Trump, and the election will therefore be once again so Donald Trump centric that he will win a landslide. Because they just don't get it. They don't get how he promotes himself, how he brands himself, how he controls the news cycle, how he trolls people with what he says. Still haven't got it. It's all right there in the art of the deal, but reading it's tough. So it's tough to take time out of your day steaming about how much you hate Donald Trump to actually read his strategic book that he laid out in plain text. What else we got going on? Oh, now they're criticizing Donald Trump's Twitter strategy. Look out how Trump got bad at Twitter. Politico. Happy New Year, baby. Yeah, I had a fun night last night up at the Fourth Wall. They did a live little podcast there, and I think if you just Google Fourth Wall TV, all one word, you can go on there and listen to my New Year's story that I told. What up, Brain Eater? I had a little special New Year's story there. I won't spoil it, but you can look it up, Fourth Wall TV. They had a little stream last night. I thought it was going to be stand-up, but it was like a 2-hour-long podcast extravaganza. And I should have just told them we should have went live on Outrage TV. Maybe we would have got more viewers, but I don't know. It seemed like we were lacking in the viewer department ship. How Trump got bad at Twitter. Politico by Jim Watson, a man who I dare say has not tweeted himself into the presidency. He's going to explain to us how Donald Trump got bad at Twitter. Donald Trump, the man who redefined the possibilities of social media. Oh, this is Nicotine from my hometown there, Ponca City, Oklahoma. All right, the Vapor Artisan, and this is Betty White flavor, which I don't know. It tastes like a smoky kind of cinnamonish type thing. Cinnabonish. It's pretty good. I usually vape this fucking Canon, but as you can see, it's been charging all night, and it still blinks like it's dead when I try to hit it. I just got a new atomizer for it yesterday. It's not syncing up. I don't know what the fuck is going on. So I'm on this little portable buddy here. Ooh, you got the little THC pen. Ooh, tasty. I have some actual marijuana here, some actual marijuana buds, and I don't know. I'm not too compatible with the weed. I've given it a healthy opportunity to be useful to me. And the most use I can find for it is like maybe once a week, like when I'm like stuck on a creative problem, like I'm in the middle of a screenplay and I can't figure out the next scene. and I'm stuck on it for a couple days in a row. If I take a hit of weed sometimes late at night by myself, I can find out a nice little creative workaround to it. But as far as like day to day getting anything done or being social whatsoever, no, weed does not work for me. I just like, I get super introverted and like just want to go to sleep. So like as far as like day-to-day creativity and industriousness, it's not too good for the outraged chancellor here. Yeah, if I'm gonna do it, it's got to be a micro dose. I think it might be subconscious paranoia left over from starting my weed smoking career in Ponca City, Oklahoma, where like if I got caught with the weed I had, I was probably going to be locked in a cage. So this article is trash. This article is trash, ladies and gentlemen. How the president got bad at Twitter. I don't think he's bad at Twitter. I think he pretty much runs the news cycle through Twitter. If he's bad at Twitter, I don't think that would be the entire agenda of the mainstream media every day, breaking down Trump's tweets. And if you ever look at the comments in under Donald Trump's tweets, you can see the mass triggering effect the man has. What else is going on? Psychic to the Stars reveals predictions for the year ahead. Let's check this out. Yeah, out here in LA, there's all these, it's one of the things that I noticed when I came into town. There's all these psychic shops where they, these mindless people who have no principles that they live their lives by, they're usually, atheistic hippies, which I don't typically have any problem with, but they don't back that up with any moral principles. So they just like, it's all woo-woo and spirituality and like empty Buddhism, and they act like they can go to one of these psychics and get some insight. And it's really like just a sign of how mentally deranged the people are that kind of industry can sustain itself out here. There's so many lost idiots in LA that you can sustain an entire industry telling lost idiots lies about what's going to happen. And you just put like beads in the window and light some incense, and they will believe you. If you have colorful clothing on, if you're moderately attractive, if you have beads in the window, if you have crystals, if you have a candle lit, they will believe you. And matter of fact, I mean, I have enough right here with the Christmas lights. I should probably open a psychic reading. I should probably offer that service because I can predict the future of SJWs. When they come in and they're like, what's going to happen in the next year? I'm like, you're not going to get any pussy. You will get more frustrated over Donald Trump. You will want something to happen. It will not happen. You will want Robert Mueller to find something. He won't. You will want your life to be more like comparable to Donald Trump's success. It will not, because you resent him instead of being inspired. You will want to accomplish your dreams this year. You won't, because you resent people instead of being inspired by them. And you blame people for when you blame everyone else but yourself when other things go wrong. You can't handle failure or criticism. You can't think. Anyone who disagrees with you, you call them a racist, a sexist, a bigot, a homophobe. They are not any of those things. You are just deficient in mental capacity and strength of will. You will continue to swirl down into failure. I don't. Maybe that could provide some value for them. Maybe once they hear those predictions, maybe they'll be like, "No, I don't want it to go like that. That's I did pay $50 for this reading. Maybe I should take some personal responsibility for my own action." But I'm not going to hold my breath because, it hurts. It hurts to realize that you're the one that's responsible for your own miserable fucking life. But no pain, no gain, baby. You got to get in there and look at it objectively. All right, so what's Psychic Nikki? She goes just by Psychic Nikki, I guess. What does Psychic Nikki see for us in 2019? I'm Psychic Nikki. I'm the federal outrage chancellor, Psychic Nikki. I predict that Outrage TV will blow up in 2019 when people start to realize that my satire is cruelly predicting reality and making fun of it ruthlessly. And the satire and reality will be hard to distinguish from each other. And people will be drawn to the satire as they get more and more comfortable realizing the horrible truth of our existence. That the government is the next phase of slavery that they've instituted. The government is 50% slavery. It's half slavery. Slavery means other people own 100% of your labor. The government means they own 50% of your labor. So I'm tantamount to an abolitionist in, the 1850s. Time will prove us correct, outragians. But yeah, that's the main reason I go hard on that against the left and don't really. The right is just as bad in some ways, but the left is just wanting to increase government power. It's like they want more slavery. That's the problem. We don't have enough slavery going on, and so they have to be stopped at all costs. And then once we stop the evangelical morons on the left, we can start talking about real societal solutions to the big picture problems going on. Like drastically cutting down the size of government and ultimately abolishing that big fucking draconian monster squid that claims the right to steal our tax money and call it legal. Yeah, the income tax was only supposed to be a temporary measure. Let's look up, before we get into Psychic Nikki real quick, let's look at the income, the income tax real quick. Little income tax history for you. Yeah, it was to pay for the Civil War. It was supposed to be a temporary measure to pay for the Civil War. And turns out it's permanent. We're taking some of that income, baby. And And then you see how the government grows and grows and grows and metastasizes like the cancer that it is. And, the tentacles of the government have worked their way into virtually every aspect of modern life, and anything it touches, it corrupts. Because it's upside down world. Anything that's valuable, you should be willing to pay for. But the government is not voluntary, so that's how you know it's not valuable. When the mugger has his hand in your pocket, that's how you know he doesn't have your best interest in mind. So it's hilarious when people talk to me about the evils of capitalism, because they just don't understand the fundamental machinery of the ethics underneath it. Capitalism has no force behind it. Nobody can put a gun to your head and force you to shop at Target. Capitalism is lovemaking. Government is rape. And the Democrats are the party of rape, and most of the Republicans are too. Most of the Republicans are just rhinos, Republicans in name only. They say they want to lower the size of the government. They never do. They just are, once you're in the machinery of the government and you have to worry about fundraising and satisfying donors, and you basically just become an agent of the state. You become an agent of perpetuating the need for a state. And so that's the corruption that happens to most people. What you need to not be corrupted by that is what Donald Trump has, which is fuck you money and a lot of fame outside of your political career. And that's how he was able to accomplish what he did in 2016, because he was able to rise up outside of the system, criticize the system with no filter, and come in with no conflict of interest. And so that's hilarious when they try to say that Trump has these big problematic conflicts of interest. It's like, no, he's literally, probably the only president since some of the original founding fathers to come in without significant conflict of interest, because he has fuck you money and he has a fuck you attitude. And but he hasn't done nearly enough. He was just a placeholder to make sure we didn't collapse the entire country by electing Hillary Clinton. But he's a hilarious placeholder. He's, I love the man. He sacrificed a lot to do what he's done. Sacrificed a lot of, he's gotten called every name in the book. He's lost a bunch of money on his family business and stuff. So that's the other hilarious narrative. Oh, he's doing this for personal gain. It's like, yeah, you get to get dragged through miles of shit every day in the media and just get smeared and attacked constantly every single minute of every day. And but yeah, that's personal gain, and like people boycotting these businesses, and it doesn't give you any personal gain to start talking about illegal immigration and how it negatively affects the country would be, when we have a welfare state. And he's not taking any presidential salary, so he's definitely not, there's no monetary gain here for Donald Trump. It's all lost. But you needed somebody with that kind of fuck you money, kind of like Ross Perot. But Ross Perot didn't. He had the intellect, but he didn't have the charisma, and he didn't have the testicular fortitude to stand up to the corrupt cretins in D.C. there. Now let's go back to Psychic Nikki. Ooh, psychic to the stars. Who is this person? They write this article like I'm supposed to already know. We ask Psychic Nikki to shed some light on the year ahead. As Nikki sees it, there are going to be a lot of protests worldwide. Oh, brilliant. That's kind of already happened. The U.S. government will be one of the big stories. The stock market is going to be up and down. Oh, this is retarded. I'm done with this article, CBS. Go fuck your mother. That's my prediction. CBS will fuck their mother in 2019. Let's go back to Drudge Report here and check out some other shit. Military deletes tweet saying it's, quote, ready to drop something. Maybe it was a shit joke? We shall see. Dropping the mother of all bombs in that toilet, dude. After some New Year's nachos and tequila. I was looking at some tequila. I want to get some tequila. Because I took a couple shots of that over the holiday. Man, that's the tastiest liquor to me. You get some of that agave. That agave plant is fucking wild looking. Don't you love that when you pull up an article and they immediately rape your face with a video? It's the immediate, like the alien face sucker. Just watch the video. Don't read the words, And then you try to scroll down the page and it follows you that goes down in the corner. What's a clamato chaser? My chaser is typically beer. I want to get some tequila, some tequila silver, and some Mexican cervezas. That'd be good with some damn chips and guacamole. All right, let's read this from CNN.com. There's no spin here. U.S. Strategic Command, the unified military force that controls the launch of nuclear weapons, tweeted an unusual New Year's Eve message on Monday featuring B-2 bombers dropping 300 or 30,000-pound conventional weapons at a test range. Quote, hashtag Times Square tradition rings in the hashtag New Year by dropping the big ball, ... If ever needed, we are hashtag ready to drop something much, much bigger. Oh. The tweet from U.S. Strategic Command's official account said, well, there's your warning to... Our previous New Year's Eve tweet was in poor taste and does not reflect our values. We apologize. Oh, Anderson Cooper popped up on my screen. Do you want the news summarized each morning with that steely-eyed gay man glare? Oh, he's going to summarize your news right up. No, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody's just trying to make a damn bomb joke. Dropping a bomb joke. My favorite bomb joke of all time was how Trump handled the nuclear, the North Korea situation. You remember that? Where it was all about how big his nuclear button was and how his nuclear button was bigger than Kim Jong-un's. He literally made a nuclear war threat and a dick joke in the same tweet. Okay, that's the most... you can't say the president's bad at Twitter, because that's just immaculate. Okay, that's going to go down in history books. All right. I mean, man, especially, talking in reference to an Asian person, and you reference nuclear bombs and small dicks at the same time. I talk about a lot of controversial shit on stage, but goddamn, that's a hell of a joke right there. That's a hell of a joke, dude. Oh, man. That's your president, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like Dennis Prager is predicting 2019 to be a dark year. He says the left will make 2019 a dark year. Progressives' goal is to weaken, destabilize, and impeach the president. He says, I rarely make predictions, whether of election results or anything else. My policy has been to say what I believe should be done, not what will be done. I am making an exception with regard to America in 2019. 2019 will be a dark year in America. Thanks to the left's control of the House of Representatives and the news media, Americans will be kept in a fevered state throughout 2019, with innumerable hearings, exposés, criminal investigations, and possible indictments of those around the president and the president himself. Truth will not be the point. Defamation will. Anything that might muddy the president, no matter how spurious, no matter how thin the evidence, will be pursued with gusto. The media will drop, quote, bombshell after, quote, bombshell. If lives and careers are ruined, so much the better. No one should be associating with this president anyway, as far as the left is concerned. The Robert Mueller investigation into alleged, quote, collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russian government, which has led to guilty pleas and imprisonment of people around President Trump for offenses having nothing to do with such collusion, is a preview of what lies ahead. The goal of the left is to weaken, disable, and impeach the president, is the heart of its mission, and to undo the 2016 presidential election. If the Republicans had done anything comparable during the Obama administration, the Democrats and the media would only have charged the Republicans with racism, as they labeled all the criticisms of Barack Obama. They would have howled fascism, and for once, they wouldn't have been far from the truth. Yeah. It's just a religion of hating Donald Trump. And I don't think it's going to work, because it's so transparent and so plainly resentful and just shallow. And it's like everybody with a brain can see it. And it's not gonna work. It's gonna be a good year for Trump, I think, and good year for America. As long as we don't get that pesky economic collapse that's always looming there. What's good, Archer? Happy New Year to you, my brother. What's good, man? We're just on here taking it easy, chilling out, reading some headlines on the Drudge Report. Making some 2019 predictions. And why would you want to support such negativity? Bad strategy. Yeah, they don't know anything else, because they don't know anything else other than negativity, because their lives are mired in negativity and depression, a lot of them. Because to be on the left, you have to have a fundamental... There is an aspect of having compassion for the less fortunate in society, but they don't know how to fix those problems without going through the government, which is their main flaw for the actual compassionate people on the left. But then there's also the other side of that coin, which is the resentment of the successful. And you can only resent the successful
if you can't identify yourself as being currently successful or possibly successful in the future. So you have to have and to hold that resentment inside of you, that the rage that Donald Trump inspires, like the guy in the vape shop who melts down, like he's not on the verge of success. He's like so far away from success that it's so unattainable to him that even seeing a picture of success or the possibility of success infuriates him. And so that's all they know how to invest in is more and more negativity, because and that's why you see like this like Joe Rogan does this a lot, where it's like the religion of positivity. Like, oh, we need to make everything positive and let's just be positive, and it's like this mantra of these people that don't have fidelity to the truth. If you don't have fidelity to the truth and what's true morally and factually in the world, then you just have to have this vague sense of positivity and being nice. And that's like your religion, to be nice. And sometimes you have to not be nice, okay? Because there's an objective truth, and some people are diametrically opposed to that truth being exposed. And it doesn't help to be nice to people who have no principles and are just in a bloodlust trying to destroy you. And that's the part of the non-aggression principle that goes with self-defense. Just because we abide by the non-aggression principle doesn't mean you should take our kindness for weakness, because self-defense is purely valid under the non-aggression principle. But yeah, they're addicted to negativity because they don't have a rational sense of gauging when it's appropriate to be quote unquote negative or be quote unquote positive. These are all like vague subjective terms, but if you're in the pursuit of finding an objective truth, then it's kind of a moot point whether or not you're going about it in a nice way or a positive way or a negative way. It's just like there's an objective truth, and it's got to be communicated. That the government is an immoral institution. Communism doesn't work, and Keynesian economics doesn't work. Objectively, it doesn't work, and electing Hillary Clinton would have been a cataclysmic disaster. Nation building doesn't work. You see, the foreign policy of the neocons in the Middle East doesn't work. Trying to spread democracy at the point of a gun doesn't work. These are all objective truths that you have to reach through logic, reason, and evidence. And a lot of people can't do that. And so they focus on these vague notions of positivity and feeling good, and there's like all these Buddhist ideas wrapped into it of like balance and the middle way. And what up, Wallow? Iceman? It's the Iceman. Ooh, remind me of Chuck Liddell, baby. Be throwing them haymakers out there. That what you doing? Haymaker mohawking, huh? I respect that. Sometimes you gotta shave the sides of your hair. Sometimes you gotta throw a fucking haymaker, dude. Yeah, they're addicted to the power of being offended, and I think it's losing its steam. That is a very short-term strategy, because you're seeing it now. Like there's immediate pushback now to outrage culture anytime it happens. Like on this Louis C.K. thing, like he just made hilarious jokes about non-binary people who can't decide what their gender is, and like the school shooting survivors in Parkland acting like they, just because they didn't get shot, somehow understand the intricacies of having the government take everybody's guns or banning semi-autos or any type of gun. And it's just objectively funny because it's objectively ridiculous, the things he was talking about. And like there was all this, oh my god, I can't believe Louis C.K.'s an alt-right comic now. He's so hack. He's such a curmudgeon now. He's such a right-winger. And like, and there was immediate, it's like balanced out in the comments of like, no, shut up. You don't, it's a joke. It was actually pretty funny. And it's actually ridiculous, the things he's talking about. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch Louis C.K.'s comedy. So shut the fuck up. So there's a balance out to every new outrage now, and it's starting to balance out because there's a compounding effect of fatigue, outrage fatigue, where people are just like, oh my god, a new thing that people are pissed off about. They're like, number one, the people who are supposed to be getting outraged have to be, that's a miserable existence. To like constantly be looking for violations of the politically correct rules going on in society, and no matter how many likes and retweets you get, that mindset to have to notice those things and point them out constantly is exhausting. I can't even imagine it. And there's all these inherent contradictions that you have to hold up in your head simultaneously. Like there's no difference in gender, but transgender people are born with the wrong gender brain. And it's like, there's all these contradictions. We want to be compassionate, but we're also stealing your money to pay for the government programs. There's all these simultaneous contradictions you have to hold in your head. So that's exhausting, number one. And then the people who legitimize it and like feel the need to apologize and abide by the politically correct rules and bow down, that's exhausting, having to self-censor to not get attacked online. That's exhausting too. So for those two things to sustain, it's not going to happen. The sustainable model is having principles that you go by and going by reason and evidence and drawing your conclusions from that. And so then you don't have to have this mental battle going on in your head all the time, figuring out what you're going to do or what you're going to say. It's just like, that's the reason, like I've heard Owen Benjamin say this too. That's the reason I can get on here and talk for hours at a time and not, have to pre-plan much or anything, because I'm just telling you what I really feel and where the evidence takes me. And my logical thought progression takes me. So I don't have to pre-plan how I'm going to manipulate you guys and get you to think a certain way. And no, it's just, it's reason and evidence, and it's the opposite of exhausting. It's energizing because I'm excited to filter the nonsense going on in society through a rational perspective and then make fun of it. And that's, it's a fucking blast. So I don't think their worldview can sustain itself. So, and you see them eating themselves constantly. The Women's March being canceled because it was too white. You see that article? Oh, dude, it's just so hilarious. And that they keep having this expectation of how reality is going to unfold, and it keeps falling flat on its face, and that's got to be exhausting too. So the rational people are going to win. We've just got to not apologize, not back down, and keep having a spine and keep speaking up and never shut up. And And that's easy because it's fun. But their side, to keep up their side, it's mired in this like dour worldview of oppressors and oppressed, and that's not sustainable because it's not fun, it's not true, it's not validated by your sensory experience. It's just you're living in a false reality, and your actual mind and body is going to decay as a result. You can't live in a false reality and maintain your health and vitality and enthusiasm in the actual reality that you're occupying in your three-dimensional meat body space there. You know what I'm saying, party people? So we gonna win. Archer says, when was the last time a mass killer walked into a place where people are armed? Oh, yeah. It's so... You don't even need that argument for the gun thing. It's just a personal freedom thing. It's just a personal freedom thing. And, you know, it stems from the fact if you own your own body, which is the only reason assault and murder... we recognize them as immoral, is you own your own body, and so nobody gets to obstruct you owning your own body and do damage to your body. If you own your own body, then you own the products of your labor, and that's why you get paid for working. And so you have ownership over your own body, and you have ownership over your own actions, personal responsibility. And so you own the products of your actions. And so you get paid for your work, for your labor. And then you should be able to spend that money on whatever you want. And that definitely includes owning a gun. And yeah, there's just no argument against it. There's just no argument against it. And the only arguments against it are from... They're not even arguments. They're just like people scared of guns, people who don't understand the fundamental nature of government, which is a coercive, monopolistic agency of evil, and they just see the government as like tweaking machinery in society and protecting us, and it's like they're not here to protect you, dude. They're not here to protect you. They're here to gain power over you in whatever way possible. Even if they have to have little effeminate 17-year-old boys tell you how much you need to give up your gun. That's what they'll do. But, you know, I think if David Hogg wants to make guns disappear, he should first prove his commitment to progressivism by making his cock disappear. Because that's what I really want to see is transgender David Hogg going door to door in Texas trying to confiscate semi-autos. I think that'd be a good reality show. Knock, knock, I don't have a cock. Well, my gun's cocked, boy. Yeah, it's all this narcissistic assumption of like how you should live your own life. Like, do you really need an AR-15? Oh, do you really need a handgun? Like, you don't get to decide what the fuck I need. Maybe I want one. Maybe I want to listen to Louis C.K.'s comedy. You know? It's this like narcissistic control freak weirdo behavior, dude. That's what the government is in their head. It's a way to get you to comply with how they want you to live your life. And so that's you have to have a certain level of narcissism to overlook the immorality of forcing people to, at the point of a gun, to fund the government. They overlook that because they're going to get the control and the compliance from you that they desire in their little Machiavellian brains. Well, I know you may not, my cocking of the gun may have not been literally accurate there, Archer, but I do believe it was necessary for the pun I was making. What's up, Rick Doris? Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Yeah. Yeah. It comes from, yeah. They didn't have any, a lot of it comes from tyrannical parents that people had that made them do shit and didn't give them reasons. It's just do it because I said. And, they just forced their kids to do shit. And so that's where these people get this ideology of like determinism, like things just happen. Like they don't have a sense of their own free will or personal responsibility because they weren't allowed to make any choices on their own when they were kids. And so, things just happen to me. Oh, I have no responsibility. That's the leftist mindset. A lot of them I have sympathy for a lot of people that haven't actually been exposed to arguments. They just think this way because a lot of them were abused as kids and they had shitty parents that like were basically tyrants. And so when they get into adulthood and they get free from their parents finally, they want to enforce that same tyrannical control over the world around them through the government onto their fellow citizens. And they can get political justification for it because it's just there waiting. The machinery of the left is there waiting to be used by these broken people to impose their own ideology on everyone else. And that's why you see people who can think rationally and are opposed morally to the government. They usually, like, I had very reasonable parents. There were times where there was like a handful of times where I got spanked or they like yelled or made me do something, but it wasn't constantly like that. And they were reasonable in negotiating things with me, and they let me have my own identity, and didn't try to force me into anything. They let me pursue what I was interested in, and there was a balance there of them like guiding me but also letting me be me. And so then I grow up and I don't have a need to control other people because I just have my own will. Then I manifest my own control over my own life and have self-discipline and do it that way. But a lot of people don't like admitting that they have control over their own life because then they have to own their failures as well. And that's painful to do. When you fuck up or when you're not good at something, it's your fault. And you got to admit it if you're ever going to improve at anything. Or you could just blame Donald Trump and take antidepressants. There's your choice, ladies and gentlemen. Or it's not a choice. It's a deterministic universe and you're just going to take your antidepressants and it's Donald Trump's fault. YouTube channel called Ed Queer Kids. That channel pisses me off. They ban Alex Jones but let people indoctrinate toddlers into being little fruit queens. Oh. So it's like, it's educating children on homosexuality or something? The trans kid thing is the weirdest fucking thing going on in society right now. That's, to me, that's like grooming for pedophilia, child abuse, like these sicko fucking parents that are just like putting their 5-year-olds on hormone blockers and shit. You know, I think they're really just competing with their progressive friends at cocktail parties to see who can turn their kid into more of a progressive mutant. Oh, your son's gay? That's not shit. My son just got his cock chopped off, and we're starting the hormone therapy next week. You win! Oh my god! You know, it's this like race to the bottom of fucking sadistic child abuse. Oh, teaching them to be drag queens? How progressive. Why are you being so bigoted? You don't like watching children strip for money? What's wrong with you? Are you not on board with Bill Nye's agenda? Okay, we're all going to be extinct in less than a generation from climate change anyway. We might as well, start hanging out with Bill Nye and doing some blow and, partying with these kids, Who cares? We're all going to be dead. There's 400 different genders anyway. Put on a bow tie and, have some kid parties. So fucked up, dude. Yeah, I watched Bill Nye's show back when he actually talked about gravity and entropy and interesting shit like that. That Bill Nye saves the world shit was insane. Well, yeah, I hope y'all had a lovely New Year. I was up at the Fourth Wall Comedy Club in North Hollywood getting my podcast on with all the regulars up there and sipping on some Bud Light. And it was a good night last night. I got to sign up for the mic tonight. Oh, yeah. Yeah, watching Bill Nye in the classroom there. Yes, sir. But it's creepy. You always got to be skeptical of. Unfortunately, you always got to be skeptical of the guys who are making content specifically for little kids. I mean, little kids. It's important for them to have male role models. It's important, but it's also like it's bad that you have to look out for guys like Bill Nye or Jimmy Savile. Like Jimmy Savile was one of the most monstrous human beings who have ever existed. Raped and killed like hundreds of kids, and had a children's show on the BBC. It's like, and then like I think like he sponsored like a children's hospital or something. Just a fucking monster. And unfortunately, you got to be skeptical of like, guys who want to teach kindergarten. It's like, it'd be good if you had a nice, positive male role model, and influence in your life. That can really help you, especially if you're coming from a single motherhood home or something like that. But it's not going to help you if you get the butt rape there. That's not going to help. Proxenoid hasn't even noticed that the government's been shut down for 2 weeks. Well, that's because you're an evil Nazi bigot and you're self-reliant. Okay? If you were like one of these good people who depends on the government for the oxygen they breathe, maybe you'd see it a little different. The government is like life support to them, okay? They've developed a dependency, and you need to fund it. Don't worry, you'll still be able to choose your doctor. You'll be able to choose your plan there. Oh, that's cool, Dirtweed substituting for kids aged 3 to 7. Yeah. My kindergarten teacher was gay as a motherfucker, but he was a good guy. He never diddled anyone to my knowledge. Mr. Enevolson, back in Ponca City, Oklahoma, taught us at the Marlin Mansion. There was this dude named E.W. Marlin who was like the richest dude in my hometown back in the day. He was like an oil prospector, and he had this big fucking mansion in like the middle of the city, and it's like my parents live over by there now. It's like this kind of museum type thing now, but they held little kindergarten classes in it. Let's see here. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I've probably got to go out and make some dough toward this rent money. So, yeah, just a chill hangout for today. Went through some of the headlines here. But yeah, I'll be on stage in North Hollywood, Fourth Wall Comedy Club tonight. I'll probably post up a clip here on Instagram at Nick Jordan himself. Oh, Archer got him a VR set. Ooh, there you go, boy. Yeah, I'm scared of that technology. I got too into video games as it was when I was younger. I gotta stay away from that. I get sucked in. But yeah, Nick Jordan himself on Instagram, Outrage Cast on all the podcast platforms there. Like it if you like it, share it out if you want to share it, and yeah, let's keep growing this thing. Let's keep fucking rocking it out every day, and go check out Dirtweed. He's gonna do some damn painting on his channel. He's gonna Bob Ross it up. You know, stoned out of his mind, Bob Rossing it. I like that. And yeah, dude. Yeah, like it if you like it, share it out if you want to share it. Subscribe to the channel. I'll catch y'all cool cats later. All right, peace out, everybody. Catch y'all tomorrow. Happy New Year!